Hello everyone, this is Curtis with Weed Whacker Lawn Care. Hey, what this video is about, lawn care tips of working out in the lawn. Now this happens every year, and what it is, you want to be safe. That's why when the lawn care season begins, you want to make sure that you, get your property all cleaned up, grass, leaves, all of that debris. You want to get that all cleaned up. Reason saying that is because I've had a number of customers over the years where they may not get to it, or they just let stuff linger around and whatever, and as you approach the month of April, it starts to get warmer. Well, then you start having critters hanging around for you: squirrels, rats, mice, snakes. All of that starts hanging around. I don't know, you just never know. Well, from my years of working out in lawns and all, I run up on a lot of these critters, snakes, places that average person probably may not be looking, and it's a snake there. It can be old bricks, boards that's laying around in the yard, some old leaves piled up, and you can't tell what's what. Some of these snakes are dark brown. I mean, you can't tell. It looks just like a piece of wood, and it may not be, and you reach to grab it and you'll be putting your hand on some poisonous snakes. I know in the area that I live in, there's known to be a lot of copperheads out here, and I have walked up on a lot of copperheads, and they be around old tree stumps, roots and stuff, flower beds. They're in there. And then you have to, observe what's going on. So it's normally when you go out and you look at a property, you want to observe the property. I mean, just look around for leaves and whatever else may be there. You never know. Now I've run up on a number of just rats and stuff in tall grass. I'm mowing, and there's a nest out in this yard, and there's snakes in there. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, I had one lawn that I used to mow over and over, and every time I would go to this property, I would run up on like 4 or 5 snakes. They would come out, and I guess they had a nest there, and I don't know, it was poisoning snakes. And I know another area that I was working in, there was this bayou in the back of this property, and it had this big old long black snake, and I was like, what in the world is that? And it was a water mouse. I'm like, whoa. And it would just be laying, and you really wouldn't know what that was there. It looked like, I don't know, just something just laying there. It could be like a black piece of rubber, but nope, it was a snake. Big old snake there. And so I've had customers would call me after something have happened. They want me to come over and clean their property up. And it was just one particular customer called me and says that her mother was out cleaning the flower beds. And what happened was I guess she stuck her hand in there and cleaning it out, and something zapped it. It was, she thinking, well, maybe it wasn't really nothing. It stung. So she continued to do what she was doing, stuck her hand in there again, and it zapped it again, and she was laying out in the lawn. It was cardiac arrest. Luckily, she was able to call. Well, she didn't call, but her daughter called for, paramedics. They came out and all, and they rushed her to the hospital, and they were having a problem trying to figure out, what type of snake it was, what kind of antidote, can we get for her. And, it took some time, but they managed to save her from that poisonous snake, but they don't know what type of snake it was. And they called me over to clean it up. Now I was afraid myself because I was like, well, I don't want to get bit, so I'm gonna be looking around. And what had happened? They had a lot of high grass and old weeds and leaves and all of that was all over the lawn and all. And so I had to be very careful with working with that lawn. And fortunately, I was able to go in there and get it all cleaned up, and nothing, per se happened. So that was one. Now, I had another customer call me, and her son, they had some old tree limbs that were laying in their back lawn. And what had happened, they had them laying around old trees and breeze. So the son was back there and he was picking them up and not really paying attention or looking for anything to happen. Well, he stuck his hand in there and snake got him. And well, that was another one laying out. So luckily he was younger, so he was able to get up, but they got him to the hospital and everything, got him saved and all. So then they called me to come and clean it up. And I was like, well, I don't want to get snake bitten. I'm like, hey, I'm scared of them snake. I don't know which snake is which. I don't know which one's poison and which is not poison. I'm not going to be playing around with any of them. But, luckily I was able to go in and get that property all cleaned up. Now, the whole time I'm working on this property, I was very afraid because, you just don't know. Any little bush or anything move, I was kind of afraid of it. But I don't know. You never know where the snake may be hiding or curled up and all. And sometimes if they have plants, like little flowers, these flower pots that hang from the roof and all, well, I don't know how the snake get up in there, but they get up in there. I've seen some of them hanging from the tail down on there. Normally they'll leave when they hear a noise, like, lawnmowers and all, trimmers and all, sometimes. But they may be afraid or they hiding somewhere or whatever. Or they done have a nest somewhere. And you out there and they may get you. And so these are things, you have to look for when you show up at properties. You got to be looking around because you just don't know. And you got to be careful of different types of spiders. Those things be crawling around and you don't know, and one of them can get you. Now, this did happen to me some years back. I was out on a property and I had long pants on, but I wasn't aware. I don't know. I was off out there by myself, and what happened was, I think something bit me. I don't know. It must have been a spider, but I couldn't feel my leg, and I fell to the ground. And when I fell to the ground, I couldn't walk. It was like, man, what the heck what's going on? And I don't know, my leg swelled up. It was hurting me. It hurt me and hurt me. And, I managed to get home. I managed to get my equipment on there, and it was hurting. It was aching. I was just dragging my leg, and it was hurting real bad. And I managed to get home and get me a good hot shower. And I got me some of this green alcohol, and I rubbed my leg down with that green alcohol, and also I took me 2 aspirins, and I went to bed. Now the next day, I was feeling some better from that. I was like, man, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was, but hey, I've learned you have to be careful when you're out there. Especially in the summertime, and you just don't know. You just don't know where these snakes are. Some of them are aggressive. They'll come after you. And Let me see. I went. Where else was I? I went somewhere else. Now, I done mowed a lot of properties. I done been in a lot of areas, and I done been chased by dogs. I done been chased by some of those what they call wild hogs come out of nowhere. Now that's scary. A wild hog chasing you. I was like, goodness. I didn't know what it was. It looked like a pig or whatever, but I didn't know what that thing was until it got a little close and it was coming. And I was running, but the only thing I could do was run and jump in the truck, and hopefully that thing went on. But they have, you never know. You wouldn't think some of this stuff is in the city. Well, it's a lot of stuff in the city. What's going on? They're building so many homes till the animals don't have anywhere to hide or go anymore. So they're coming more into the city. I know when I first moved here in my house, every morning I used to wake up and I had deer in my front lawn, and they would eat up my plants. And I would go get some more, and the same thing would happen. But eventually, they moved on somewhere else. But now, it was like, well, they don't really have any place to hide because, hey, it's coming. I mean, there's so many homes being built now. These animals are everywhere. Matter of fact, I remember it was in 1999. I had a brand new Chevy Silverado, and I've had the truck probably about a month. And I was out early in the morning, and a deer came out of nowhere. And bam! I pulled off from the light. The deer came out from nowhere. Bam! And it bit my bumper, knocked out my grill, bit my hood. And I was like, man, can't believe this on the brand new trucks. Well, it was still drivable, but I made a police report and, put the truck in the shop. Still, that deer cost me a lot of money. That was because I had to pay a $500 deductible for that deer, and the deer was knocked out. And when I called, the officers out to come and check it out, then the deer had got up and left. I was like, man. And they told me that, they said, yo, we total out, these patrol cars just about every other week. A deer, because when you're in a high-speed chase or something happened and they're running, those deers would come out of the woods and up on them and come into the car. I was like, whoa, that's scary. So I was like, whoa. But I didn't get hurt. I didn't get hurt or anything, but my truck, I was sick about that because of that deer. But that's just one of those things there. So y'all, I'm just passing some of them lawn care tips out there when you're working in the lawn, and how to be safe and look out for different stuff. Other stuff is checking the property, looking out for gas lines or any type of naked lines that could be laying down in the ground. You don't want to get fried because sometimes, I don't know, they have these underground cables where it provides electricity. So you got to be careful with these units that they put in the backyards. And sometimes, I don't know what could go wrong, but I know those things, if you get zapped, that's it. You got to be careful when you're working around one of those things. Because they put them in there and they provide electricity for I don't know how many homes that are in the neighborhood, but some of them, they'll put them in every other lawn. And those are dangerous. Now, I've seen some of those things in the backyard. It sounds like a bomb, but some of them have blown. They go boom, boom. Now that you got to be careful with, that's in the backyards. And I also observed if you go to a lawn and something smelling like a rotten egg, it could be a gas meter somewhere that has a leak, and you don't want to be around something like that, and especially if you're mowing, because see if you out there mowing and the blades are turning at a high speed and hit a little rock and it ignites something and set a fire off, or can be very traumatizing. But those are things you have to look for out in the lawns. You got to be more observant when you're out there in these lawns. It's not something that's easy. I know a lot of times people think you can just get a lawnmower, a weed eating, a trimmer, and just go. No, you got to be careful out there. You have to be careful. You have to be looking and watching at all times. And that's something that I do when I go to a property. I want to know what I'm working with. What's on this property. Another one, phone lines. You got to be careful with that. Underground cables. If there's something that you're not sure about, don't work around those areas because it could be dangerous, and it's not worth it ignoring it. If it's something that you're not familiar with, ask the owner or whatever it is how long that's been there. What is that? You want to observe all of that. I mean, for like I say, electricity lines, gas meter lines, and even water lines. You want to be careful. Look for like the sewer lines and all of that. Cause you want to be careful. Water lines, all of that. You got to be careful. You got to be always looking and observing when you approach a property, cause that's the first thing. Another one, also look along the fence. What happens is on these fences, and look at some of the houses, because up under the ceiling and the deck, sometimes there's beehives, sometimes there's a wasp nest or something other. I've had that to happen where I'm mowing some property and I didn't know there was a wasp nest that was hanging from the fence up under the board, and I stirred them up and they came after me. They got me. It stung me, took me down. I had a headache for a month and my head swelled up. And that was painful. And I was working on a property one where it was an old hollow tree, and I didn't pay it no mind. I was just going through there mowing. I was on my standard, and it was a beehive in there, and those bees came out, and I jumped off the standard, and I was running and running, and I tripped and fell, and they got me. It got me. So that was scary, and now it was dangerous. So that's something that you have to observe when you out there mowing on these properties in someone's lawn. I mean, everything may look good, don't mean that it's good out there. It can be very dangerous. I mean, for Zealand working with some of the hedges, trimming bushes and all, sometimes there's a wasp nest off in there that you're not aware of, and you start trimming on the thing and it come out on you. So as we approach that month of next month, which is April and May, you have to be observant of all of these things that can possibly be out there. Don't think that because you go from one lawn to the next lawn, all of them going to be saying, no. I'm just telling you from years of experience of me out here working, some of the things that I have came across by working out in these different lawns on different properties. And when I tell you different properties, I've had some different properties that I went on, and I'm like, you wouldn't believe some of the things that I ran across. I mean, I've had places where I have mowed lawns, and there's a big old alligator walking around. Matter of fact, I have a video that was some years back, and reason they used to keep a gun out there because it was alligators out there. I didn't know. Heck, I just showed up. I'm mowing this property, but the whole time, I didn't know when I came in there. But the customer informed me that there's alligators out there, and I was like, wow. So that I didn't know. I wouldn't have known had the customer not told me. And so I'm like, hey, I'm scared, because you don't know. You just don't know where you're going, but you gotta you'll get educated on these different properties, and a lot of times, sometimes the customers don't even know them as snakes or whatever and all. I remember it was some years back, and I was used to mow this property, and it was far away, and it was off in some woods, and the thing that had happened, it was this lake way back, and the lady was telling me about her dog, and she'd had a number of dogs, and she said the dogs always would disappear. And I was like, oh my, what? Oh my, what is going on? Well, come to find out, it was one of them alligators was coming out of there, up out of the woods from that lake, and was eating the dogs. I was like, wow. And they get hungry, they gonna snack on a dog. I'm like, wow. That was just one property. Now I done been a lot of places. I mean, I've run across fox. What else? They got some of those coyotes. Have those around. Well, skunks and all of that. And what else they had out there? Oh, a panther, cougar. I'm like, I don't know where they come. I don't know if somebody had them or brung them in, but they've been out there. So it's something you never know. You got to be careful. You got to observe where you're going and what time you're going. So what I'm doing is I'm just informing you of some of the things that you could possibly run up on. Now, I have ran up on this stuff, so just to be safe out here, while you're working out in these lawns, what to look for. Let me see what they have. I get a lot of customers. They have they get. I don't know. They have problems with raccoons getting in their homes, and then they'll have problems with what's that? What raccoons get in there? Oh, and the squirrels. The squirrels will get up in the attics. So yeah, and they have to call out wildlife. One of those critter companies to come out and trap those things and get them out of there. And let me see what else. Just yeah, I'm trying to recall. I'm giving y'all from years of experience of me out in the lawns and stuff that I have personally came up on while I was out there working. So I know we're going into this, and around the corner here next month, and you just want to be aware of it. And in different parts of the country may not never have any types of problem, but here, I know I run across it every year. I think it was one year I killed like over. It was like over. I want to say about 20 snakes. And it wasn't like me just killing them. It was like with me out mowing the lawn. The snakes would get caught up in the mower. I'm mowing the lawn, and all of a sudden it's like clunk, 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 clunk. And it felt like I done hit a board. And I'm like, I know it wasn't nothing in front of me. And it was some of them big old snakes. I mean, it was caught up under that mower, and it hit them blades. And I was like, what in the world? And now, that came from me mowing in some high grass. I mean, some real grass that's, way high. Some of that 10 feet grass, mowing in that. And a lot of times, like, it's snakes in there, especially since it got warm. Oh, man, and if it's early in the morning and there's dew on it and it's kind of cool, there's some snakes off in there. Matter of fact, I had one where it was a backyard, the lawn I was working on, and it was a snake. It came out. Oh, another thing, those snakes, they have those little holes down in the ground. You think they like little crawfish holes? No, it'd be snakes some down up in them ground. They go down up in there, and they'll come back out. Sometimes they be sticking their head up out of there. You be careful. You just walking along. You're not being, you think everything is normal, but be snake holes, or the snake done went down in that hole and got that crawfish or something. But yeah, snake holes. I've seen that. So you got to be careful with that out in lawns. You never know. All I'm saying is you got to be careful and observe and look around when you go on these properties. So that's kind of I don't think. Well, if I think of more, I will share that with y'all. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just sharing some of these lawn care tips of stuff that I well personally have experience with and know about. And I decided to share that with y'all because I know I get a lot of people looking at my videos and all. And by looking at those videos, I want you to understand that it ain't always easy when I go on those jobs. I'm always looking and being aware of my surroundings when I'm out there. And like I always say, when you approach your property, look around, observe the neighborhood. Also look for cameras. I mean cameras, video cameras, audio cameras. Make sure like it's always good if you're in a good area and they have cameras because you can see what's going on out there, because you have a lot of these creepers called creeping thieves, and they're looking to steal your equipment that you're working hard for. So you want to watch that. Make sure you lock up everything at all times. Just be careful. And then sometimes if it's a neighborhood that you don't feel comfortable with, turn it down. Just you're. I know sometimes we want to go out there and earn some income, but if what good is the income and you done lost your equipment? And what I'm speaking from experience, I was in a neighborhood. It wasn't a very good neighborhood, and I lost. Well, I had some back in the day. I had some steel, the FS2, this 250 with the big engine on. They don't make those anymore. They discontinued them. Now they have the FS 240. But I had two of them, and they were stolen from me. I think those were like 600 a piece, so that was $1,200. It was gone. I was sick that day. I was like, man. And it wasn't no more than like 5 minutes. Got me. And right then I said I wasn't working in that neighborhood anymore. I counseled. I was like, no, ma'am, you're gonna have to find somebody else. And turn out that neighborhood, it was like, matter of fact, after talking to some other people, they always had problems with lawn people, finding lawn people to come into that neighborhood because of the crime rate was so high. People losing, oh man, losing everything. Matter of fact, I was just thinking about it. I remember I was in a neighborhood and I lost all my gas cans. They stole them. I mean, they were old gas cans. I mean, I liked the gas can because it was my dad's old gas cans. But and I just continued to use them. I wasn't thinking nobody was going to take those old gas cans. But they don't make them like that. Those types of gas cans with some kind of triangle shape, square-like. And I was just hurt about it. And I was like, oh, well, it was just some old gas can. But they were my dad's. I remember him, taking them with him and all that. And I was like, eh. But couldn't have anything in that neighborhood. So those are things that you have to be aware of. Different neighborhoods that you go in. Don't even think that because of the neighborhood, maybe upscale neighborhood, everything is good in that neighborhood. No. I told you again, those creeping thieves are out there. I remember it was some years back. Guy was out mowing the lawn, had his trailer and his mower on there, and he was in the backyard mowing. Those creeping thieves rolled up, took his trailer, hooked it to their truck, and gone. He come around the front, he couldn't find nothing. Everything disappeared just that quick. So they had to been watching him or down the street or something or other. And that was in a real nice neighborhood. Now, on the other side of town, a neighborhood that's but not so good. Same thing happened. Rolled up, disconnected the trailer from the truck, and put it onto theirs and took off. And that's the thing now. When you have one of those light trailers, you have, I mean, you can have whatever types of locks or whatever, unless you put like a low jack on there, something that's going to trace it to be on the safe side, but it may help you. But you got to be careful at all times traveling with equipment because it's dangerous. I tell you, I've seen a lot of stuff out here, and I talked to a lot of people, and they told me their stories and told me how they used to have a lawn care business, and what happened when their stuff was taken from them, they got out of it. It's just I would meet these people at a service station or something, and they would always tell me, just be careful, good luck, watch out. And I was like, well, thank you. And I would get always educated. Even by having a trailer. It was years ago when I started looking for a trailer. And I went to a number of trailer places. And I went to this one trailer place, and this guy really laid it on the line for me. He educated me about the trailers and, the different types of trailers, the different enclosed trailers, and how many trailers were getting stolen, and, all of that. I was like, wow. And it was a lot. It was a lot of trailers that were getting stolen, and a lot of times we think just get a trailer and a mower and hook up and we can go. No. I mean, he had educated me so, and he said, I'll sell you a trailer, but I'm just telling you what you're up against with the trailer. And I was kind of, at the time I was like, well, I don't think I really want a trailer, it's that bad. He said, but no. It's just something that you need to be aware of so that you don't go out here blindsided thinking everything is all right, and it's really not. Because, hey, what happens? You see it all the time. I see it on the news. I see it everywhere. I see it all on YouTube. People's stuff getting stolen or broken into, and they're losing their equipment because they're thinking that, no, it's all right. No. And the thing about, with a trailer, if you're advertising and you letter it up with your logo, and you're advertising and put your name or your company on there, they think it's lawn care. They're gonna think it's something in that trailer, so it must be mowers and all. Now, sometimes people won't put that stuff on their trailer. They'll have a trailer and they may be running a lawn care business, but they won't put no lettering on it because to be safe. Nobody knows what's in there. It's just a regular trailer. Maybe he just uses his trailer for just hauling stuff. Maybe, or maybe it's just a moving storage trailer. Nothing's really in it. It's just a plain trailer. But that's just something to be educated about, like, having those trailers. When you logo it up, put your logos and sign on there, you're advertising, and that's telling the thief that, hey, it's lawn care equipment in that trailer. So what you think they're gonna do? If they catch that trailer somewhere, they're gonna break in it because they assume that you're using the trailer for storage and you're keeping your equipment in there. Nah, and I know it's a good way to advertise, but it's also, scary because you just never know who's gonna be watching your trailer. You advertising. It's great. You get business that way, but you can get your equipment stolen. And that's just part of education. And from looking and learning all of this and seeing what's going on, it's like, no. I thought about an enclosed trailer some years back, and I thought it would be great have all my equipment in there, and it would be, but you can't go anywhere. You got to stay right there with that truck and trailer at all times. You can't be far away from it no time because you don't know where they are, them thieves. And that's even with an open trailer. You still got to be careful. I mean, they'll get you anywhere. But those are things that, you want to, low jack your trailer. Put the low jack on there. Put the cameras in there. They got all kinds of devices that you can put on there and trace your stuff down. You know, they're not going to know where it's at, but you can low jack the trailer. You know, I forgot what the monthly fee is. It can be very high, but hey, depending on where you are, you may not never have that problem. You just never know. You just got to always be careful about it. Things and situations. I mean, that's just, oof. This is part of life, y'all. But anyway, y'all, I hope that I have shared enough information with y'all for his lawn care tips and all here. I'm finna get out of here now, and it's finna be a new week, and I'm finna get out here and grind again tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be Monday, so I'm gonna be ready to get out here and go do some more lawn care work. But y'all have a good one, and I will be chatting back with y'all soon. Take care. I'm out of here. All right.